Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Hope you guys are having a great day. Today is super excitement, as today we get a special treat as I get to interview another new, well, not really new, a new person on here. He's not a rapper, but he's an EDM musician, Dr. B. Say hey.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Hey, Dr. B. It is such a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
No problem. I'm really excited.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I can't wait. Oh my God. Anyway, so why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Dr. B. As you mentioned, I'm mostly an EDM musician. I live in Toronto, Canada. I also make hip hop music, reggae, some pop. Recently, I started making some rock music as well. But my main thing is EDM and deep house, techno, that sort of thing. When I'm not in the studio, I'm in school. I'm a university student, and I'm in school to be a forensic psychologist. So when I'm not studying, I'm usually in the studio, and vice versa. I'm also a dad. I got two girls, 14 and 11, and I take care of them the majority of the time. Their mom is working a lot. And my wife, she runs 20 mental health clinics in Ontario. So we're very involved in mental health. It's a big part of our lives. And we're also a bunch of musicians. So that's pretty much all we do is make music and treat people for mental health.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I was just commenting. It's really amazing.
Oh,
First,
thank you.
no problem, man. It's really amazing how you're able to handle all of that. Being a dad, a musician, raising kids must be a lot.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Am I
I didn't
get?
catch that.
Am I blocking now?
Just a little bit. It's coming in and out.
Oh, okay.
I can hear you now. Okay, though.
Okay, I was just making a little comment. I was saying it must be hard being a musician and balancing that lifestyle, being a dad and in college.
Well, the thing is, the kids are, they're teenagers now. They don't, and they're very well behaved kids. My wife and I, we take a lot of pride in that, like the way they conduct themselves. They're very articulate, um, and they're really responsible. Like they do their homework, they attend their classes, they're doing it online. I just got my eldest daughter's report card yesterday. She has straight A's, so we're super proud of her. And yeah, they're doing well. And considering everything what's going on, the fact that they don't see their friends that much, they're handling it very, very well. They're being very mature about it. So as a parent, not only are we happy, but it makes our job easier. It's not like we have to constantly check to see if they're doing something wrong or if they're watching YouTube when they should be in class. Like they don't do those types of things. Like we went through all those problems years ago and we nipped that in the bud, and we strive very, 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 very specifically that education is very important. And when it's time for school, it's time for school. When it's time to play, it's time to play. But you don't play before you work. That's
Mm-hmm.
something we just don't do. We work first, then we play.
Mm-hmm.
So I let them really wow out and kind of go crazy on the weekends because I know during the week they're doing a lot of schoolwork, and I believe that's their little reward. So I let them play more video games and stuff like that. So overall, I like to think we have a balance, and they're learning how to play the piano, and they're like these little musicians that I get to see grow every day, like little more and more. And then they come to me and say, "Daddy, show me how to do this, show me how to do that." So it's exciting. I love being a dad and teaching them all sorts of things. Plus, we skateboard together. I'm a skater, so I love skateboarding. So every time I get my board, I take my two girls with me. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's so adorable.
Yeah, they're like my little crew, my little skate crew.
Wow. Fantastic. Thank you for the info.
Oh, my pleasure.
Hmm. Anyways, now, I'm sorry, why am I studying so much? I'm sorry. Anyway, now we're gonna go back a couple years into the past. So how did the journey with music start for you?
It really started when I was 16. I got my first set of turntables, and it definitely grew from there. I started out being a turntablist, and just my specialty is scratching. When I was younger, I was really good at that. I was never really good at body tricks, those type of things. But I really zoned out on the scratching. I mean, I would watch hours a day, like literally 2-3 hours a day of Qbert, A-Track, um, DJ Craze, the Executioners, nonstop. It was like it took over my life. And then a couple of years later, I met a good friend of mine. I'm originally from Montreal, Canada. I live now in Toronto, but growing up, we were in Montreal. Anyways, Dredd, he was a really popular DJ in Montreal at the time. And this was back in, I think, 1996 or 98. And he was a really popular club DJ. Anyways, he had this job where he was DJing in like these really popular hip hop clothing stores on St. Catherine Street, which is like the main street in Montreal. For people who don't know, it's downtown. That's where all the action's going on. So everybody goes down there. All the kids used to go down there, hang out in front of these clothing stores. Anyways, Dredd would play at these stores. It brought in more traffic, and he was making so much money selling mixtapes. He eventually got his own record shop. I was always hanging out with him. So one day he had to go to the bathroom, and he said, "Hey man, do you want to like take over the turntables for me?" And at the time, I was just begging to get on. Right, I was never been on the tables, in the store before. He never let me go on. So as soon as he let me go on, I knew which records to play, and I just went off. I just started scratching, and I really wanted to something upbeat and party vibe, but I also want to show my talent at the same time. So I was scratching over certain tracks and doing stuff, and I completely zoned out. And then when I looked up, there was like 40, 50 people standing around the turntables. I was completely shocked that I had no idea people were paying attention to me on that level. But the owner of the store was there and she saw it. So at the end of the night, when we were leaving and we're packing up, she took me aside and she says, "Hey, listen, Dredd, he can't come in tomorrow for a couple hours. Can you come? I saw, what you did. It was really impressive." So I was like, hell yeah. So then it all kind of grew from there. Eventually, I ended up getting my own record shop on the other side of town. I think it was on the west side of St. Catherine. And I was catering to total skaters, a completely different demographic. And the Executioners, he came into town one year to judge a DJ competition. We became friends. And at that time, he was signed to Loud Records. And I had some equipment in my house, but I didn't really connect it. I didn't know what I was doing. So he says, "Hey man, let's connect this stuff, and I'll show you how to make some beats and things like that." So he really took me under his wing. He showed me like really how to scratch, and my skills went through the roof after hanging out with him. Like I was like flying high. I was so excited to be like scratching with one of the people that I always looked up to. Anyway, so he's teaching me how to like do production and stuff and things like that. And we ended up recording a couple of songs with a friend of mine, 24K. He loved it, and he said, "There's some people in New York City that would totally love this music." So he gets on the phone, books a couple of meetings. 2 weeks later, I'm on a bus to New York City to meet with these major executives. I was freaking out. I couldn't even believe I was there. And again, I just went to represent her, just so she had some form of professional representation. I didn't know what I was doing, or I didn't know I wasn't a manager, I was a DJ, right? So I just went down there to be professional. Um, Met these guys. 2 hours later, we ended up getting a label deal, not just a record deal. So the distribution was through Ryko Distribution, which is owned by Warner Brothers. We were super excited. Met a couple more people. I ended up getting Eminem's attorney, the same lawyer that he uses. So I had access to all these big time artists. And at that point, it just really became a money thing. Like if you can afford it, it was going to get done. So because we were cool with Eminem's lawyer and he was actually on my staff, he was actually helping me run the label. Because again, I didn't know what I was doing, right? This was at the time when 50 Cent was just coming out and he was like just starting to blow. And he told me, hey, you know who wants to put out an album? Eminem's best friend, Proof. And I'm like, word? He said, yeah, man, he wants to do an album, but he doesn't want to do it on Eminem's label, or he doesn't want to do it on any other, like these huge labels. He wants credibility and he wants to put it out, but he doesn't want to get all these sales based on Eminem. He wants to do it on his own. So he said, would you be interested in putting out the album? I was like, hell yes, of course I would. Like I was totally freaking out by this. But he said, like because of who he was, he had to get like a really good deal. We had to entice it to show him he was going to make like real money. I was like, yeah, man, give him whatever the hell he wants. A few weeks later, that's when he died. Or it was a few weeks or a few months, but he ended up getting murdered. So that was very tragic and disappointing for everybody. But that's what happened with that. But the fact that it was in negotiations, that it was possible, I was honored for anybody to consider it, because again, who am I? I'm just some kid from Canada that just kind of fell into the music business by accident. And we had some other great opportunities, right? We were in negotiations with Keith Murray to put out his solo album with him, another one. On the day we were supposed to sign the contract, Keith goes to prison. And his manager calls me and says, yeah, I'm sorry, we can't do the deal. Which was really frustrating because I spent a lot of time with him before that and his crew. And we, went to the Rainbow Room. We had a really expensive dinner. And so that was frustrating. But we ended up signing, gonna put out an album with them. I believe we also, I'm not sure if we did the deal, but we were in the process of doing the deal with Sean Price to do a solo album. As well. We were also going to do another album with Rock because he wanted to do a solo album on his own. We signed Sadat X. Who else? We had quite a few people. We ended up doing some song with Swizz Beatz. We did another one with Just Blaze. We did one with the song that Swizz produced. We did it with his wife at the time, Mashonda, his ex-wife. And we had a great time. It was an interesting, exciting experience. We did another song with Elephant Man. That was like just a huge honor to work with someone on that level. But at the end of the day, none of this stuff made me happy. It made me kind of miserable because I guess I never stopped to ask myself, do I really want to do this? I kind of like fell into it and everything was kind of like given to me so quickly. One day I just found myself saying, this isn't making me happy. Like every day is nothing more than like a music video. There's like tons of weed everywhere. Everybody's drinking all the time, day drinking. It wasn't like a healthy lifestyle. And it just wasn't for me. It's just not like the type of person I am. I just kept doing it because I felt like I was playing a role and I had to do it. And again, who's going to be in their early 20s and say no to like a record deal, right? Or a label deal or something like that. 9 out of 10 people aren't. And even if you do say no, most people are going to look at you like you're crazy, or they're going to think that like, why would you throw away such an opportunity? Most people would kill for that. But I've realized over the years, about 15 years ago, I became a Buddhist, and I've realized that the most important thing in life is to be happy. it's not money, it's not fame, it's not recognition, it's not 15 awards you put on your wall. At the end of the day, I think we all just want to be happy. And I think you should do whatever makes you happy, right? So
Mhm.
about after about 4 or 5 years of that, I just found myself in a situation where every day there were 20, 30 people around me and I didn't know who they were and I didn't know how they got there. And everybody was just trying to like get something out of me. Like, and I just said, I can't take it anymore. So I went back to Canada. I released everybody out of their contract. They are doing, you are totally free to release. I'm not going to sue you. Come back 10 years later and say, I want royalties. Do you, man, work your program. I let them keep all the advance money that I gave them. And I thought that was right because it was my choice to walk away. I don't think I should tell people give money back because your budget is this or that. No, I thought that was the right thing to do. So yeah, I left. I got in my car and I went back home. And and I had a really sour taste in my mouth for a long time because of the music business for years, for like 15 years, because I felt like I felt like I was trying, like people were taking advantage of me a lot, and it put a bad taste in my mouth. And it wasn't about the music anymore or the art. It was just about bullshit. It was about gold chains and awards, and it was who you were affiliated with. It was like, this isn't art. This is bullshit. Like, what the fuck? So I just said, it really turned me off, man. So I focused on other things for a long time, and I eventually, I'm a big comic book guy. I got into graphic novels about 5 years ago, about 4 years ago. Anyways, I ended up releasing a best-selling graphic novel, but the graphic novel got me into motion comics. And with motion comics, you need to set some music to it, right? And I couldn't find the right people to write the music or arrange it properly. And I wanted to work with like an orchestra for the music, especially for the trailers that I was doing. And the point of the story is that there's a holy war between God and the devil. So you need like big sounds, orchestras, like that type of dramatic sound. So I couldn't find anybody to do it properly. So I just said, screw it, man, I'll do it myself. So I ended up working with a really small orchestra in Mexico. And it came out so great, but it got that love for music in me going again. So that's what really got me back into it. And then about maybe 6 months later, I started, educating myself on all the new machines and how everything's being done now, how producers are doing everything now, different softwares, things like that. And I started creating again. I started making music. And this time I really wanted to make the music that I wanted to make, which is electronic music. Like that's, I believe, what I'm really good at. That's what I love to make. And so far, it's been working out pretty well. And I released my first single about 18 months ago. And now I'm at 10,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. And I was able to achieve that for 4 months in a row now consistently. So any artist that knows is releasing music, you know how hard it is to get to 10,000 monthly listeners. But to do that 4 months consistently, I'm very proud of that. So things are growing slowly but surely. But yeah, this is pretty much where I'm at right now.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, did I ramble too much?
Oh no, 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 no. No, absolutely not. No. I enjoyed everything you said.
Oh, well, thank you.
I mean, your life story has so much emotion in it, so much tragic, so much. And it's just amazing how you started out as a surprise. Like I'm like God kind of put the opportunity out there and surprised you.
Yeah, it was like a fluke and act of God situation, and some of the best stories, start like that, or it happens like that. It was a total shock. you know, I don't want to make it sound like it was all bad. Don't get me wrong. I had some great times. You know, over 4 or 5 years of living that lifestyle, we had many days. I have a lot of memories that I will always cherish. One of my best memories is meeting DJ Evil D from Black Moon. To this day, we're still friends. And out of everybody I met in the music business, he's the only one that I stayed friends with. I'm not saying anything bad about anybody else, but I'm saying the industry just kind of turned me off. You know, it's just like, and you have all those bad memories about certain situations, and it just was like, no, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But Evil D and I, we connected on a different level. He's also really good friends with my wife. He DJ'd at our wedding. You know what I mean? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we're good friends with him. And I'm very grateful that we got to meet him. He's a beautiful human being. He really is. He's a good soul and a good person. He's one of those people that he will help you just to help you. You know, he's not in it to get something out of it. If he extends your hand, it's because he wants you to take it. And there's not a lot of people like that in the music business. So when you see something like that, I've always appreciated it.
Oh wow. An incredible guy.
Oh yeah, he's one of the great ones. He's a nice guy. And his brother too. Shout out to Walt. Walt, I didn't forget you, Mr. Walt. His brother's super cool too. Really nice guy.
Mm, sweet. That's amazing. And you're
Yeah.
like multi-talented. I mean, I just noticed that right now. I mean, actually
Oh,
not really, but you're like multi-talented. I mean, you said you wrote your book. I mean, you wrote a book. You were in the museum. I mean, are you Superman?
no, but I do love Superman. I am a huge comic book fan. But
Oh,
oh yeah, I love animation. Like ever since I was a kid, I just never stopped watching it. One of the best things for me about being a dad, one of the things I've always wanted to do, which a lot of people might think it's cheesy, but for me it brings me happiness, is just to watch cartoons with my kids. And when my daughter was born, she was born on a Wednesday, and we took her home on Friday afternoon. And I'll never forget this. I was so excited because the next day is Saturday, right? And what do you do Saturday morning? You watch Saturday morning cartoons. So I was super excited. I got all the diapers ready and the formula, and I got the bottles, and I got the blanket. I got everything ready on the couch. I went in the basement, set everything up. I went and got the baby. It had to have been like 4 o'clock in the morning. My wife was totally knocked out, obviously. She just pushed out a human being a couple of days ago, so she was pretty tired. And I took my daughter downstairs. I got all my DVDs out, and she looks at me. I said, "Now I'm going to introduce you to Superman." And we watched the whole animated series together. We watched The Flash. We watched Justice League. I showed her Wonder Woman. I was having the time of my life. It was one of the best moments of my life. My wife came downstairs at like 1 in the afternoon, and she's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I said, "Shh, we're watching cartoons. We're watching Superman." So, and to this day, we still do it. We still watch Superman. My daughter is a huge comic book fan. So, all the comic book movies, we go to the movie theater together and we watch them together. Like, I don't watch them with the rule is it kind of ended up this way, but it just happened over a period of time. Every comic book movie that comes out, we watch it together first. And then we watch it as the whole family. But my daughter will freak the hell out if she finds out I watched a Superman with her sister before I watched it with her. Oh no, she'll have my head. She'll have my head. She'll freak out. So that's what we do now.
oh wow. I mean, I wouldn't find it cheesy. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's something we really like to do. You got to take pleasures in the small things.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more.
Really.
I mean, why don't you write a biography? Seriously.
A biography. Oh, I wrote. You know, the funny thing is, I wrote a book a few years ago. I'm still. I had it edited twice, but I didn't feel comfortable putting it out because I felt like it still needed some more work, and I'm not at the moment. I'm not in that headspace to keep writing. But I did write a book, and it's loosely based on my life, but there's a lot of extra elements into it. I don't want to go too much into it, but the point is, I know how difficult it is to write a book. I have respect for anybody who publishes anything, writing articles, books, novels, whatever. It's really difficult. But eventually, one day, when this book does come out, I'm hoping I can put it out in about 2 years. I'll definitely let you know, and I hope you are really into it. It has a lot of Buddhism influences into it, and it has a good positive message and things like that. Then there's also a lot of trials and tribulations in there. Um, but yeah, I hope you and everybody else likes it. But I'll keep you posted when it comes out.
Nice. I'm excited. Now you got me getting happy feet. Seriously. I'm dancing all over the floor. Look at me. Look at that. I'm
All right,
dancing. Oh my God.
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I live in a little fun world, but I'm kind of like where you are. Like, I'm totally in swamped. You wouldn't believe if.
Right. Well, it's good to stay busy.
Well, yeah, but school, running a podcast doesn't it seem? Oh well, actually, yeah, it does seem a lot.
Yeah. What are you taking in school?
Oh me?
Yeah.
Uh, I'm not gonna share that because you might have a reaction.
Reaction. Well, I'll leave it up to you, but I don't think so. I'm pretty open minded.
Mm, oh, oh, I see. The reason why is because if I told you my age, then you probably faint.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you probably would, unless you want to. I don't really think it's a good idea, but
Well,
I
that's
pre-
okay.
thanks. So I kept meaning to ask, what's life like in Canada? You're the first Canadian, by the way. I've never had anybody from Canada. So what's Canada like?
It's pretty cool. It's really growing up in Montreal. It's we To be honest with you, I think overall Canadians were hoping our country would be more like America. In a way, we're kind of like a mini America, just with like these minor differences. Now, that was, I would say, back in, well, the 90s, and I would say before that, I think it's been like that for decades, that type of mentality. But now, within the last, I would say, 10 years, 15 years, Canada is very different with their policies, the way we live our life, the way we speak to each other compared to America or other countries. So from just being and just existing, talking to people, moving around, let me explain to you what it's like. It's very polite. It's very nice. People hold the door open for each other. People say, "Excuse me." They say, "Thank you." Um, Sometimes it's exhausting because we say thank you and please so much, right? But it's but at the same time, isn't there like a worse way to live? I mean, I'd rather that than people giving you the middle finger all day long. So it's actually it's a very nice. And when you see things going on in other parts of the world and regions and a lot of areas run by dictatorships, it makes us feel very proud on who we are and where we've come from.
Yeah.
We obviously have certain dishes that are very specific to us, like poutine is a very well-known Canadian dish that comes out of Quebec, Montreal, which really originated. Anybody that doesn't know, fries, cheese, sauce, but you have to have the Quebec cheese curds. You can't put mozzarella or cheddar on that. Don't do that. It's got to be curds. So for anybody that wants to make it, please buy the curds. You got to do it properly. I would say the winters get kind of crazy, but over the last, I would say 5, 10 years, they haven't been that bad. But it really depends on where you live. Like it gets way colder in Montreal and Quebec than it does out in Ontario. We're more south and closer to the U.S. So it does get cold today. It's -10.
Ooh.
But usually it's not like if it's -10 out here, it's like -30 out in Quebec. Do you know what I mean?
Ooh.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. There's been plenty of days where it was so cold, like I couldn't even go outside. Like it was just sick. And there was like a lot of snow, just crazy amount of snow. But we've been living in Toronto for the past 4 years, and it's not like that at all. It's much more comfortable, the winters. What else? Our policies are pretty different, you know. Our minimum wage is I think 15, 16 bucks an hour. So that's pretty good, at least compared to the US. But overall, we got a lot of great nightclubs. We obviously have the Raptors. Shout out to the Raptors, NBA champs. And we have Drake. I mean, come on, who doesn't love Drake, right?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Everybody loves Drake. Come on, man.
Yeah, but Canada sounds so nice, and y'all so lucky.
It's a nice place. I mean, there's a lot of different provinces and different areas, and obviously, depending on which city you're living in, different area, borough, things like that, things are better or worse. You know, just like in any major city. But if I was to recommend, if anybody wanted to visit or even think of moving to Canada, I would highly recommend Ontario. The job market is really great. People are still looking for work. Obviously, during COVID, it's kind of crazy. But prior to that, the job market's good. The economy's good. We have major sports teams, amazing restaurants. The city life is crazy. We have Flow 93.5, which is Canada's only hip hop radio station out here. So I'm pretty sure by the end of this interview, Toronto's going to have to owe me a check or something for some type of promotion. So I think I did a pretty good job promoting Toronto and Canada.
Yeah, no kidding. Definitely. Whew. Sorry, I'm taking a breather again. Sorry about that. Thanks for the little tidbit. Okay. And I'm actually excited for this little thing. Now we're gonna take a little trip inside your brain.
Sure.
So let's kind of dig around in there. So now we're gonna be talking music-wise. So what would you describe the music that you typically create?
The majority of it is electronic music, specifically deep house. But I do make quite a bit of hip hop, actually, and reggae. The problem is Bane Lane. I'm talking to you, Bane. She's this amazing female artist I'm working with out in Toronto. I have made her like 25, 30 tracks, and she's so slow at recording. So I'm hoping to give you guys a whole lot more hip hop. Excuse me. I'm hoping to give everybody a whole lot more hip hop in 2021. But Bane keeps stealing most of my tracks. And she's like, oh, I want this one. Oh, can I have, and played or something over the phone. She's like, yeah, can I have that one? I think that's mine. And I'm like, oh, God damn it. So I can't say, there's some people I just can't say no to. no to. So I always say yes to her. I said, okay, don't worry about it. I'll make another one. I have this great new hip hop track coming out called Shutdown on January 29th with TZ. He's from Africa. So he's a
Ooh.
really, oh yeah, he's a super talented young kid. I think he's 18. Um, yeah, the way when you hear his style and the way he's singing the record, he actually put a little bit of his own African dialect into it. Like he's got a wicked, really cool flow. He's a really talented individual. So I'm really excited about that single. That comes out January 29th. Everybody mark your calendars, January 29th. Stream that on Spotify. It's called Shutdown. But the majority of my music that comes out is electronic music. That is my passion. That's my true love. I'm really starting to experiment more with pop and alternative. As I'm learning to play the guitar. I know how to do some strings and stuff. So as I get better, I kind of like want to naturally kind of play more genres and just mess around and see what works, what doesn't work. And every time I do that and I come back, I always come back to house music, but I just find it just every time I make a new track after I've experimented, I always add something to like electronic music. I find my music just gets better and better like every time I kind of step out of my comfort zone. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I should have about maybe 30 singles coming out this year, so I'm looking forward to sharing it with everyone.
Oh, wow. Fascinating. Okay, follow-up question. And I was confused by this because I saw your profile and it said EDM. So, are you like a producer and make beats, or are you a rapper or like a singer? Because I interview musicians, but I was just confused by like EDM. Do you like make beats, or do you sing on your tracks or something like that?
No, well, what I do is there are some songs that I sing on that I have some vocals on. Some I use samples, some I don't. It's just the music. In terms of making beats, quote unquote, I don't do that anymore. When I started getting back into music 18, like I would say 2 years ago, I started out doing what I kind of knew and remembered and felt comfortable with, which is, making beats and then sending it to a rapper and getting them to rap on it. And you put it out and that's that. But as time was going on, I realized my real sound is house music. Um, and I also realized that at the end of the day, I'm the artist. I don't need to constantly keep searching for a vocalist to be on my songs. If I do that, I'll never have a song come out. A lot of people are busy. A lot of people have things going on in their life. I mean, COVID changed everything for everybody, right? So
Mhm.
my point is, when I create something, I create it with the intention of releasing it myself and not relying on anybody else. So if it means I'm singing on the record, I sometimes I add vocal samples. Like if you listen to my song Bumpa, you'll see I added like certain vocal samples. It's not necessarily singing. Um, and I try to do something different, release something different every time. Not completely different, but I try to like not do, you know, do the same drum pattern or not use the same strings or the same sounds. You know what I mean? I really try to
Mhm.
give the audience a different experience. And I'm not just doing that for the sake of doing it. The reason why I focus on that so much is because I look at everything like a story or like a comic book. I always start with, well, what story do I want to tell? And then from there, based on the story, then I choose the appropriate sounds. And then again, based on the story, then I feel this story needs to be told in this way. Like a few months ago, I made a rock song and I felt like what I wanted to say needed to be said in that way. 2 days ago, I made another song called Samira, and it's about two people, a couple that live in India who come from different worlds, different backgrounds, and they're not allowed to be together. They just can't. So they agreed to meet up late at night secret location. Nothing's around. It's just like dirt on the ground outside some abandoned area. And they meet and they start hugging, they start kissing, they start expressing themselves on how much they love each other. And then halfway through the song, it starts raining. But when you hear the song, you hear the vocals. In my mind, I use male vocals and female vocals. In my mind, the way they're singing, they're not actually singing like words, it's just like melodies. But those melodies, to me, the way I chose them, the way I adjusted them, they're different ways of themselves telling one another how much they care about each other. And in the track, I actually put thunder. You hear it building as the song gets to the peak, and then you hear the rainfall. And as you close your eyes, it creates more of a romantic experience. And you really feel these two people are madly in love with each other, and they're dancing in the rain and they're singing together, and they just can't be together. And after a couple hours, they have to go back home. So I like to focus a lot on emotion and stories and kind of tell it the way I feel I need to tell it. And I just hope it just connects with as many people as possible. I know not every song is going to work for everybody, and I'm totally okay with that. That's fine. But I think as an artist, that's just the best you could do. You just need to create something the way you feel it should be created and present it to the world in the way you feel it should be presented. And it always should be done in a professional way as well. So yeah, I hope I didn't ramble too much.
Oh no. Don't feel you ramble too much. That's the thing with interviews. I love interviews. Interviews are like the big term. So ramble as long as you want. Interviews are like the big time, because that's when all the action begins. That's the same thing with trying to get into a magnet school, trying to get into a special private school. Right. Interviews are the big thing. Right. That's when the action starts. That's
a good point. Yeah.
So don't think it's too much. Actually, that's a beautiful thing you do with your music. In fact, I think everybody should know. Remember that there's a little thing that I hope you'll do. And it's a little tradition, but you're not a rapper, so I want to know if you would perform a song for us.
Perform a song? I'm not really in the position to perform a song at the moment.
Oh, come on, just one song? If just pick appropriate one if your kids are around.
I'm sorry?
Oh, nothing. Nothing. Oh, come on, just one little song. It doesn't have to be a full song, just a snippet.
You want me to play you something?
Sure.
Okay. How about I play you the new song that's about to come out?
Awesome. Sounds great.
Okay. Here it goes. Hold on 1 second.
One time, let's go. Man, them in the club with the money. Ladies in the mood, so naughty. They back up rewind like a gypsy. Tryna run and make a nigga tipsy. The party no be ordinary. Let them know the boy so legendary. Straight from Lagos, I be coming like a fear man. No stress, that's original. I give them one time for the moolah. Pull up my jacket and I light up that. Pass all around to my real man. You know I'm down for the whole night. My body keep it 100. Shut down the floor and I jump in over. Then I'll be back and I'm a 10. Toronto shut down, Chicago shut down, New York downtown shut down, Nigeria shut down, Lagos shut down, Germany to Miami was shut down, DJ Dr. B, you know we shut down, Philly, Sweden, you know we shut down. Yeah, you know we shut down. Yeah, you know we shut down.
There you go. What do you think?
Wow. Amazing.
Heavy on the baseline, party out till we can't walk the straight line.
Wow. Really good stuff.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah, I love it. It's so unique and different. And wow, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh my God, why am I stuttering so much?
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm glad you like the song.
Yeah, no problem, man. Okay, so this is we're winding a little bit down, but there's a little something that what you do also. Okay, this is a little something that you can do. So do you have any shout outs, any last words, any advice to kids out there?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'd love to send a big shout out to my family, my wife and kids. Um, I'd love to shout out the beat miners. You guys are super cool. Any advice I can give to anybody? I would say whether you're up and coming or you've been around for a while, I think we all fall a little victim to this, where we tend to kind of watch what other people are doing a lot. Some of the big artists, and we tend to watch a lot of videos and go on social media, and I think we tend to spend a lot of time watching other people do work their program. My advice is work your program. Don't worry about other people's program. Spend more time working on your craft. What I started doing was, instead of spending 2 hours a day on Instagram, I spend now 2 hours a day playing the piano. I jump in on social media for 2 minutes, say what I need to say to my fans, and I jump out. Spend more time working on your program. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Your fans, your time, all that will come. As long as you're a serious musician, your fans will pick up on that. And the people who are feeling you, they're going to vibe with you, and they'll stick with you, and they'll want to take that roller coaster ride with you. But if you're not serious, it's like blood in the water. People know that, man. Listeners are not stupid. They're not going to invest their time into somebody who drops a track in January and then you don't hear from them again for like a year or 2 years. And then you expect your listeners to like listen to your stuff. Why? You're not famous. I'm not famous. You know what I mean? Like unless you have millions and millions of followers or streams, like you can't do that. You're building. You have to show your people you're serious. So that's what I would say. Yeah, take your time and work on your program. Don't worry about everybody else's.
Nice. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I agree with it 100%.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. You deserve all the praise. And that's one of it. Anyway, I gotta address this again. Thank you for coming here today and taking some time out. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It really is my pleasure. And let's try to do this again.
Awesome. And y'all out there, one thing is that y'all need to check out his music. He is fantastic. You're gonna check him out on Instagram, Twitter, and Spotify. Make sure you check out Wrap It Out. Make sure you follow our social media. By the way, we have social media. You need to follow it. I don't know why you're not. And we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Make sure y'all follow that. And thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys had a great time listening in on this magnificent musician. He is amazing.
Thank you so much.
No problem. All right, y'all. About to close out, but thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure y'all check out the other episodes. Make sure to check out the other episodes. Make sure to check out his music. Follow us on social media, and I will see y'all very soon. Bye, y'all.